Hi everyone, welcome to Live with Janome. I'm Hein, and I'm going to hang out here for just a moment as I pull up the comments on the page so I can see what we're doing today. I am coming live from a hotel, so I'm hoping my internet stays good. Sometimes there's issues with that. All right, so I can see the video and my comments are on. So if you're out there, go ahead and give me a little thumbs up so I know that you're there. And we'll get going in just a moment. Today on live, we are coming from Katsukan, which is at the Gaylord in Maryland. And I'm Hein, embroidery software specialist. Today we'll be working with a graphic, and I have some fun things for you to try with a graphic. Oh, good, Marty. Thank you for letting me know you can hear me just fine. All right. Whew. All right, I'm going to put the camera on and say a proper hello. Whoops, let's get rid of this stuff here. There we go. All right, so I am in my hotel room and I have a great view. I'm going to show you that view in just a moment. I'll tell you a little bit about Katsukan and what's going on here, and then we'll start our piece for today. So I'm just going to check comments to make sure you're out there. If you're out there and you have a comment, be sure to post it and I'll come back and answer it. Sometimes I can answer as I go and sometimes I come back afterwards. It just depends. So as I said, I'm at Katsukan and this is a cosplay con. And what that means is those who have favorite characters from anime or different genres like that come dressed as their favorite superhero, favorite person from those things. So for me, I'm like a newbie. So and maybe I'm just a pretender. I don't know. And I do work the Janome booth. So we are showing them. This is the second time we're at Katsukan. So we are starting to do these cosplay cons and introducing sewing machines to this group because they do make their costumes and they're amazing. We have anything from maybe a store-bought something to these 3D created parts and warriors and it's amazing. Sometimes it's so over the top, I just can't believe it. So anywhere in that range, people wear all these fabulous wigs and there's classes on how to do your wigs and makeup. Everything. There's just a lot going on here. So we do have a classroom here this year at this one, so that's exciting. And I will be, I brought 4 costumes, 4 cosplays, but I'm only here 3 days. So one of them is Wednesday Addams. That's my new one. So I'm going to try that. And then I have my Lolita, which you guys have seen pictures of me, I think, in my Lolita costume. It's like a little short dress kind of thing. And I wear all of these. I'm wearing wigs with. And then I am going to be, I think you saw me in when we were in Atlanta. I was with Miriam and we were Daria and Jane. She was Daria and I was Jane. And so she's not here. So I made me a little Daria. So when I dress up like Jane, I'll have Daria in my pocket. So Daria will be with me always. So I have this little Daria. And what's funny about this is I couldn't find one that I liked, and so I went and bought a T-shirt and I just cut around it and sewed it together, with the back of the T-shirt and stuffed it. So I have my little Daria on there. So that's kind of what this is about. So and I have my other one is my last one is my sewing marm. I have the one with the top hat. So I may wear, it just depends on how I feel. I brought 4 of them, but I'll only dress in 3 of them. And then you can see over here, let me get my hand in the right place. I don't know, right there. There it is. This over here, my kiddo is with me and he is vending in Artist Alley. So he's selling his wares. This is very exciting. So I'll be over in Janome. He'll be over there. And I wish him well. And then he's going to dress up like Snufkin. It's actually his costume. I've worn a couple times as Snufkin, which is a Moomin. So maybe we'll have a picture of us together. Who knows? I may do that kind of thing. And I think he's dressing up something else. Maybe Mothman. He has a gorgeous thing he made for Mothman. So he's great at these things. Me, I'm a pretender. So anyways, let me see what's out here. Everything looks good. All right, so I'm going to quickly show you our view because we are in the Gaylord and we do have an atrium view. So we are up high and you can look down, and this is a great advantage place to be because all throughout the day you can see people down below having photo shoots. They have professional photographers come in and they make up they sign up for times and they have professional pictures made. People meet up and have a great time. There's parties at night so you can hear it. So it's really fun to be up here. So I'm going to take my camera and I'm going to walk out onto our little patio thing here and show you what it looks like going down. Then we'll come back and I will do our thing about graphics and we'll get to that. So let me first get my camera pointing in the right direction. So it's over here. And I'm going to turn this on. So you have to excuse me for a moment because it's going to be, just a picture of those doors. And I have to carry this and not pull things off my table, which I did earlier today. So hang on while I get it all set and not trip on a cord. And I'll open this up and I'll see how far out I can get. Let me see. Hang on. Don't mean to make you seasick or anything, but flip this around this way. Sorry. You don't need to see the top of my head. So see our view? So right down there, as the photo shoots happen down in there, there's a few people milling about, and then there'll be some over there. And we're in this great big atrium, and out there, I don't know if that's the Potomac out there, but there's water out there. I have to look and see. It's National Harbor, so you can see people starting to mill about. We're early in the day, so as the time goes on, there'll be more people down there. Lots of meetups, lots of fun going on, and all of that. And that's where some of the parties happen down in there too. So, and people, I don't think we have any people decorating their patios yet, but people will put lights and things on their patios. It's really, really fun. So I'm going to come back in and then I'll check my comments. And hopefully, I'm sorry if you saw the top of my head or whatever. It's kind of hard to hold the camera and back your way into wherever you need to go. All right, so let me get this back. So that there you can see Snufkin's hat, and I'll put this back on me. There we go. All right, let me check the comments really quick to see what's happening there. And hopefully, let's see here. Nothing has frozen. Hopefully it's all working good. Mine seems to be doing okay. All right, there we go. All right, we all able to see down into the atrium area? Just give me a thumbs up if that happened so I know I didn't totally lose you guys, or maybe I did. I don't know. Let's see. I'm going to wait just a minute to see if there's some thumbs up or anything to make sure I'm still connected. Mine still looks, oh good, we got some thumbs up. Okay, so that's what's going to be happening. And I will post some pictures of me in my cosplay. I'll show you some pictures of our booth and hopefully get some of our classrooms so you can see what's going on with that. And some of you may attend some of these cosplays. I don't know. This is my, I did 3 last year. So I did KatsuCon, Dragon Con, and then the Holiday Matsuri, the one down in Florida. And then we're on our way around again, and I'm back here at KatsuCon. So it's really quite fun. So all right, here we go. I'm going to put on the software, and we're talking about graphics. And I had seen someone do this, and I don't have mine totally finished, but I want to show you the concept and have you can actually work through it yourself. So let's go to the software, and I'll pull that up. Here we go. So everybody should be able to see the software. I have an extra window open. Here we go. All right. So, I think the video just cut off. Hang on. Marty's is fine. Okay. I think mine froze here too. So I think that we might have a slight issue with that. I tried to get the better internet here. So what I'm going to do really quick so we don't lose it is we're going to open up Create New. And then what we're going to do is we're going to use a graphic from our insert symbol, and you can use other things as well. I am on my Mac, so I do have some of these other things down in here, like let's see if I can find one. Some of the dingbat fonts that are down in here too. So you could use something from there. I'll go down to my Valentine one. I think I have, maybe it's this one. So there's some of these things that have shapes in them that you can use those as well. But I'm going to use up in our wingdings and webdings, which is at the top here, right here, and webdings, because both PC and Mac have these kind of things. And I'm going to find our little Buddy the cat. And some people who remember Miss Maddie Bushman, she loved Buddy the cat. This is Buddy the cat, and I'm going to do insert, and I'm just going to click and drag and put him right here and close this. So here we go. He is too big for my hoop. I'm going to bring him down so you can see what's going on here. Oops, this way. Come on, mouse, do your work. There we go. So he's a little wide for my hoop. So I'm going to move him over just a little bit so his nose is right on the edge. And then I'm just going to squish him this way. I'm just going to make him a little thinner than he is. And maybe not that. Maybe I'll just make him a little shorter so he'll be a little squat. There we go. So he has a little bit more to work with. All right. So there he is. And when he comes in, you know, he is already stitches. So you can, when I select him here, there we go. You can see over in properties that he is a step fill. He does have an outline on there too. So I can play with either of those. But what I want to do is I'm just going to delete my inside part. And then, yeah, I apologize. I know the video went away, but then came back. And then what I'm going to do is right click and break apart, because I do want, if you look at these parts, you'll see they're all connected. Can you see how they're all connected? And I don't want them connected. So I'm going to select him. I'm going to right click and break apart. And I have to do it a couple of times because I can see this is still connected. Up here is still connected. And I'm just going to keep hitting break apart. There we go. That's all good. And I'm going to take this out. I don't need that, but I'm going to leave his little collar and his eye and his nose. And that all looks good. Now, I could do a couple of things here. I could add a line here to make his two legs, you know, have two different legs. And I would do that with my Digitize Outline Shape tool. Okay, mouse. All right, mouse, let's behave here. I think we're having a cat and a mouse thing happening here. There we go. So I'm just going to draw a line down here like this. I may need to zoom in a little bit to get close. And then I'm going to do end shape. And then I'm going to select, oops, I'm going to turn that off, go to select. And then I'm going to select my cat. I'm going to right click and combine. Now, when I combine, it does put it together down here. And sometimes I will go to edit nodes and see if I need to join those nodes. Sometimes it'll give you a join those nodes, and I think we are okay here. So I'm going to bring it, maybe if I put it on top, we'll see what happens. Nope, we're good. All right, so we're together there. And, you know, if I wanted to do any shaping on him, I could definitely do any shaping, but I'm not going to worry about the shaping. So I have that little piece in there. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of him, and I'm going to copy and paste him to another page because, and I'll tell you why in a minute, so I'm going to copy, and then I'm going to go to a new page, and I'm going to paste. Now, if I was working at home, if this was my original, I would save this one, and I would save the other one. So I would have cat 1 and cat 2, or buddy 1 and buddy 2. And I want that other one for a reason. I'm going to use it for something else once we get designing. So the next thing I want to do is I'm going to show you a little picture of what I was working on so you can see it. Let's see. Let me go back here to my USB stick. Here we go. Work with a graphic. So we're working on something like this, where we can bring things in and fill up the spaces of our cat. And you can see here, I've made an appliqué underneath it, and then I've stitched on top of it. So that's why I want that second cat, because I want to create the appliqué afterwards and put it all together. And then this here was a cat that was in, I think it's in the CM17. I think it's in some other ones too. So I brought that in and I layered it up on some other stitches. And you can be very ornate. I'm going to show you some other things you can put in there. You can bring in, all kinds of flowers and populate the whole area with flowers. But where you want to work first is in the open shape. Okay, get all your stuff together in here, and then you'll use the one over here. We'll create our applique over here, and then we'll bring them together. So I'll show you that. And this is great because you don't have to use a cat. I mean, you can use any shape. You could put it in a heart. You could put it in a letter, shape of a letter. Anything you want, anything you want to fill, you can fill this way. So for the tail, I wanted to break up my tail into different parts and then have fills. And the easiest way I found, and there's probably other ways, is to use my outline shape tool. There we go. And I'm just going to draw some curved lines through here to break it up like that. You could do straight lines or curved lines, doesn't matter. And then I'm just going to do one here as well. And then I'm going to go to select, and I'm going to select all my lines and my cat too. So I'm going to hit shift and select this one, and I'm holding shift down and then the cat. And then I could just right click and I'll see knife, and I'll click knife. So I know one of the knives says this one might have come undone on me. I don't know. I'm going to knife again so you can see, oh no, you can see how these lines are going in now. So it's breaking up my sections for me. There we go. I'm going to click off, and I can click in this section and I could give it a fill. So I'm going to go over to colors, and I'll just make it this color. And maybe this one here, I'm going to make this color. And we're going to have a cat of many colors. Maybe I'll do this light yellow. And then down here, this one here, I can do, let's find a pretty blue. Let's see where the pretty blues are up here, maybe. Ooh. Let's see, well, maybe we'll go purple. There we go. All right, so now I have these shapes to work with. And to me, that was the easiest way. I tried doing like a line and split outline and joining nodes. And yes, you can do it that way. But for me, this gave me my shapes right away. So I can work within these, and I can select one and go to my properties, and I can work with the outline, but I'm going to leave the outline just as it is and click on fill. It is a step fill. I have an option of putting a pattern in my step fill like that. Maybe I want that. And then I have some stitch flow, so I could change the direction, but I do like the direction of this one, so I'm not going to change that one. This one here, maybe it's a step fill, but I want to put stitches in there. So I'm going to pick a pattern of stitches to put in there. And then from there, I can adjust those by the density or the length of it. So if I want to change the length of those stitches, let's see, I don't know if this will work. We're going to put 2.0 mm, and they're closer together, or we can just put our little, there we go. I just put my mouse on there and scrolled up, and now I have a bigger section. So I can work through my sections. Maybe this section I want to work with gradient, and I'm actually going to do, I'm going to duplicate it and change the color of the second one to this. And then I'm just going to move it to the side so we can see what's going on. So the first one, I'm going to come back into properties, and I'm going to come down here to gradient, and I'm going to say maybe minus 200. And you can see it got a lot lighter. And maybe I want to do, let's do minus 400. You can go up to 5. So there we go. And on this one, on the orangey one, I can change the gradient to, let's just do 400 on the plus side. So then I can slide that back on top, and I have kind of a shaded area. And I can also change when I have it over here, I can select these and use my stitch flow. I have direction, so I can put a line in here. And then if I want to, I could put a gentle curve. like that. Sometimes though, you have to be careful because it goes outside of your shape, depending on your shape. There we go. That one looks good. And so I can put a line on this one. Let's select this one, and we'll put a little bit of a line that way. There we go. Whoops, maybe not that much. There we go. And then I can have that one selected and then slide it back on top. So you can play with a lot of what I like about this is you can play with a lot of tools and sample a lot of things within your program. Okay, so hopefully everybody can see what's going on there. So you can do, all different things in here if you want. You could, work with your outlines if you want to make that a satin serial and change the outline color. Let's make it, let's actually make it 3.0 mm, so it'll be big much bigger than we need. And the reason I wouldn't do this on mine, I'm going to show you in just a moment. And then I could make that a different color. So maybe we want to make it this petal pink. There we go. And it did put it outside just a little bit. I am going to be making a applique that's going to sit in here. So I don't really need these outside parts. I could probably work on the transitions. So I'm just going to undo this because I don't need it. There we go. So you could probably, oops, one more. Let's do one more. There we go. So you could, if you really want things there, you can do it. If you don't want your outlines, you can delete them right here in your used colors. And so when you do your final, if you do a final outline, you won't have an extra line between it. These would look kind of nice, together. And you can always, change the shape of this. Maybe you wanted it more like this. And so you can change the shape of it and work around it that way. So you have lots of options of playing with your different pieces as you go along. So down here, this is where I started to, let me go back to this area here. On my other one, I made an area down here that I wanted to fill with different shapes. And let me go back to Buddy 2 so you can see it. And I just drew, a shape in here and then put my other shapes in there and then put my cat on top of it. That looks a little bit like this. Go back to your outline shape tool, and then, maybe you don't even have to have it go all the way. Maybe you want something like this, and then end shape. And of course, then you're going to select your cat, and then do combine. So now you have that together. And of course, to break up your spots, you can put some lines in here like this, and maybe one here like that. And then select, let's select this, and then combine. And now I have some sections, whoops, let me go back here. And now I have some sections that I can work with. And I can fill these in with different things. Let me do this. Do I need to break apart? There we go. Oh, these I might have to join a node down here to get those to fill in. Or if you want to have more control of your pieces, you could do this. Let me delete that. Let me show you this other way to do it. If you draw in each of your shapes and just make them come along here like this, and I would probably want a cusp node there to come down on here and be back on there. So I could put different shapes here. I can adjust my nodes so that this one probably needs to be to the line. There we go. So I can make it more straight. I could create all these shapes like I did over here. Once I get them in there, these I just added different stitches in properties. So I have my, let's go back here. So it's this little zigzaggy stitch. I changed the density here to get it apart like that, and the gradient so that it looks more like this. Same thing on this one. I use this stitch here, 86. I changed my density a bit and my gradient. And then on this one, I just changed the density and not the gradient. And then I just plopped the cat on top. Now I can go through and I could do things where I can remove overlaps and things like that as well. So let's create that applique. And you can see my applique is up here at the top, and it's going to be the first thing that I'm going to stitch. So you can do your applique two different ways. I'm going to remove these pieces here because I don't need, whoops, not that, sorry. I think I need to break apart that part, take, ungroup it. Let's see if I can select, there we go. And I don't need his eye or his eyeball. And that's the other thing, you can be creative and make eyelashes and long curly eyelashes if you want a great big eye. You can be very artsy. But to make a applique out of this, you would come up here and then you're going to go to fill, and then you'll see applique, whoops, wait a minute, I'm sorry, outline. What is going on with me here? I gotta, oh, here's applique, sorry, just can't read. And I'm gonna turn that a different color because it's easier to see if it is something more like that. There we go. So then we have our outline. This little line here, I can add that in separately as a satin stitch and just come in here and I could select satin serial. I could change the width of that maybe to 2.5 mm and have that in there as well. On my outer part, when it's an applique, I can pick right here. I want a satin stitch on the outside. And there's my satin stitch on the outside. Now, one of the things, when I go to stitch this, this is where I would probably make myself a little sample first. You know, you could stitch your applique first and then add your pieces on top of it. And that's what I did. So if you see here, I didn't stitch this yet, so I would have to test it. I wanted to stitch right on top of my applique. But what's going to happen is my stitches, see here, are on top of that outline. So I might have to do a manual applique, and so that I can have my outline separate from my, because you can't take your, when you have an applique, it's all one piece. It stitches all at once. If I wanted to have the applique part at the end, I would just take my guy, and I'm going to undo this one. There we go, one more undo, and undo that. I would take my outline and I would create, the first one would be a running stitch, so that would be my placement, and then I would have a second stitch, so I would duplicate that, change the color, so let's make that orange. That's going to be my tack down, and then I would duplicate again and change color. Let's make it this green color. And that one I would change in properties to be a satin serial, and I might make that one 3.0. That would be my outline. So, and I'll have to readjust the whole thing. So I would have, let's open this up so you'll see. So I have my tack down, my placement, my tack down, and my satin stitch. So all those little parts that I'm going to put in, I would put after the orange one, and the last thing I would stitch would be this outline, so that everything here would be behind the these stitches here. I could also come in here and maybe instead with my applique, I could do a slight zigzag and make my zigzag tiny, and then finish with my own back with this one. Okay, so I could do it that way as well. It just depends. There's lots of, applique is, to me, is very flexible with what you're doing. And you just have to be careful. Now I've put this a little outside the hoop on that part of it. All right, hopefully everybody's okay. I think it's working all right. Now, I was going to show someone, I was answering some questions before. One of the things you might want to do is maybe in your design over here, you want to draw a shape. So I want to show you something. I've talked about this before, and what I call it is, when is a line not a line? When it's a shape, when it's an object. So maybe I want to do this little curly Q in here. And I'm just going to click off of it so you can see. There it is, a running line. And I want it thicker. So I'm going to go satin serial. And I'm going to make it wider. Let's make it 3.0 mm. That's wide. There we go. And it looks like that. And that's kind of nice, right? It's not bad. But you know what? I can't really do anything with this. I can't use my stitch flow with it. There's nothing, it will not let me do anything. Edit nodes. If I select it, I only have these nodes. So I can't adjust it really, except in the shape it's at. You know, I could bring this node in a little. I could make this one come out a little, something like that. But I can't adjust the size of the stitching at all. Like it's always going to be 3mm all the way around. But I could turn it into an object by selecting it, right-clicking, and then convert outline to object. Now, when I go to edit nodes, I have nodes inside and outside. I have a shape. So I can come here to this end, and maybe I want to pull that down here and push this in. So I have more of a pointy end. And maybe the same thing here. Maybe I want this end to be pointy. Maybe down here, I want to select this node, and this node. And I selected the first one, then I hit Shift and selected each one after that. And maybe I want to pull this side out a little bit. And then maybe this node needs to go in and this node needs to come up. So I can adjust my shape. I can pull out one over here. I could pull one in over here. So I have a little more flexibility with my shape. Now it's just a step fill. And for stitch flow, I can change the direction. So if I wanted those stitches, if I could put a pattern in there, and if I wanted those stitches to go that way, I could curve them a little bit like we did before, but I could make them satin. And then under direction, I could make some things like this, or I could go to divide and I could make little divides in here like that to give it a little more interest. Let me click off of that so you can see it. So now I can play with that shape more and make it more interesting than just an outline. Okay? So that's why a lot of times I'll tell people, click on, you can do the same thing with letters. When you have a letter in there, when you're using text, if you want to turn your text into an outline stitch, if you select your text and right click, you'll find turn object to outline, and you can make an outline stitch. I showed that last week on my live for last week. So that's how you can work with this. I did work up here. Let's see what's going on this side. So I'm going to work on mine a little bit more because I really think this will be fun. I played with his eye just a little bit, but I think I want to do a little bit, I want to make something really fancy here with his eye. These eyelashes, I think, need to come out. I think I'm going to make it really interesting up in here. But I'm going to bring in more things and fill him up. I just think he needs it. Maybe he doesn't need to be an applique. Maybe my background fabric will be enough. But just in case, if you wanted to have that applique behind there, you could do that as well. Anything you don't want, maybe I don't want this little part, I could just delete it and just work with it. I can add that line back in that I had taken out if I need that line, and so forth. All right. So I'm going to wait for just... yeah, you wanted to turn your text to outline. I'll show you really quick because I've got all of you here anyways. So if you're in text, and these are actually wingdings. So let me just go up here. Where's my little guy? Figure out which way. This mouse, for me, this mouse seems like it's backwards, but I don't know. Here we go. It is. Yeah. I'm trying to, hang on a second. Let's just do this. There we go. All right, so I want to use one of the fonts from up here. We'll use Arial. I think this will be good. All right, so when I type, and I'll just type. There we go. Did I spell that correctly? All right. So there it is. Let's make it a little bit bigger. And when I have that selected, it has an outline and a fill. So I can come in here, and if I do convert the fill to center line, it makes it a center line, but it's kind of fat. So if I want to go to running, now it's a running stitch. Everybody see how I did that? Let me go back. So when I have it selected, I right click, and I could do outline to object or fill to center line. So I want to do fill to center line, and it gives it a satin serial, but maybe I want it running. And then from here, I could do a regular running, a double or a triple. I could actually do something, well, that doesn't look good, but some of these other things you can do on your letters. Those don't really look good, but you can play around with that kind of stuff. So you can do that. And then if you need to, you can, of course, break apart. So you have individual letters now to work with. And you could make one bigger than the other, however you want to work with them. You could play with them. Okay. All right, so I think I've given you a lot of things to play with. I'm going to go back to the camera and say my goodbyes. Let me see here. This is where I need to be. There we go. All right, so hopefully that inspires you to try different things. Just bringing in, a graphic that's just a shape, like the cat, or maybe, an umbrella. You've seen all those out there with different things in them. And some of you are so creative. You can draw beautiful things in there. There's a couple of our people who are they're really good artists. I'm not really that. I like to borrow things and put them in there. But this whole filling a shape like that, like a cat or a dog, or maybe, the shape of your house, or, sewing machine. Oh, a sewing machine. Ooh, that would be fun too. So there's lots of, things that you can work with. A lot of us, we want to take that photograph and turn it into, a work of art. So this is one of the things you can do with your photographs as well. When you bring them in and you convert a photograph, because it's, pixelated, it's all got all kinds of little things in there. Once you clean that up a little bit and make bigger spaces, you can make those sections different patterns from your properties menu. You can work with your gradient. You can make them stitches. It doesn't always have to be a step fill throughout your whole piece. You're the artist. You can make changes. If you go out there and look at some of the paintings that, that are out there, it's not, it's not like a photo, photographs are photographs. You're working with stitches. So you're making, a tapestry. You're making a work of art when you're doing that. So there's a lot you can do with that. Let me check my comments over here. Oh, there's Amy. There's my dot to my polka. And let me see what else is there. Amy, I played with Buddy the cat. You're going to have to go back and look at it, because we know who used to like Buddy the cat. So someone near and dear to us. Oh, she works in dots. And that's the other thing. If you wanted to, you could put a shape. Maybe you want to do a pillow. You could put a shape and multiply it. Use your array tool, your rectangular array, or circular, and multiply it. And then in each of those shapes, put other things. Maybe combine things in there. So there's lots of it. Wait a minute. Yeah, Sarah. So the double line of nodes, did you see? Hopefully you saw the whole thing. The difference is, when you're working with an outline, you only have, those nodes, and you can't make them, fatter. If you want your line to be, your circular line to be 3 millimeters, it's going to be 3 millimeters the whole way. But if you select it, right click, and do outline to object, then you get the shape nodes, and then you have a lot more flexibility. I mean, you can still keep it the same all the way, but then you can shape the ends of it. Or you can, move your stitches to be in a different direction, where when you're using just a satin outline, a satin serial outline, it's just going to be the same. Your stitches are going to be the same. So that's why I always tell people, when is an outline not an outline? When it's a fill. Many times when we're doing lettering, when you have those letters, they're like collegiate letters, and you've converted it from a graphic, okay? And you have the inside part, and then you have this black outside part, and you think, oh, that's the outline. It's not an outline. If you click on it and you look in your properties, that's a fill. So you can adjust it, which I really love. I mean, I'm all about adjusting. So I should have been a chiropractor. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, Sarah, I can't wait to see your veins now on your holly. Bring them on over to the Janome Artistic Digitizer page so we can see them over there. And so I want to thank everyone for joining me today while I'm at Katsukan. And I'll be posting some other pictures of my adventure here this weekend. It's always fun. These are a lot of fun. And if you ever get to go to one, you know, come on over for a day and see what it's all about. It's even just hanging in the hotel is very, very interesting. So I'm going to let everyone go. I will see you next week. I'm trying to think what days I am next week. I might be like, I don't know, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday next week. I don't know. One of these weeks I have a lot of lives. I can't remember when it is. And then I had a live. Did I do live yesterday? Yeah, my live yesterday was a recording of an earlier live I did when I didn't have my when I didn't move my camera over, and it was one of the Easy Does It quilting ones. So that was my live from yesterday. So you'll find that on the page here as well. And I'm working to get about once a month, I go through my lives over on this page and I coordinate them and bring them over to the Janome Artistic Digitizer page as well. So you can, they're all in one place over there. Sometimes they're a little easier to find over there because I can categorize them. On this page, we don't really categorize them. We try to hashtag as best we can. And then you can search by people's name as well and find out all the videos they've done. I try to put my little banner up and leave it up for a little bit so you can kind of see that. It doesn't always work. Facebook will start and stop a video wherever it feels like. So sometimes you're in a weird look, and then sometimes you have the nice cover page. All right. Yeah, but I think it's the week after next week, right? End of next week. End of next week we're together. A week from Sunday. Amy and I are together a week from Sunday. Ooh, I can't wait. Out in the Pacific Northwest. All right, everyone, have a great day. Have a wonderful weekend. Thank you for spending time with me today. Hope I've inspired you to create wonderful things. Post them here on our Janome pages, and especially over on the Janome Artistic Digitizer page. Check that out if you haven't checked it out, and we'll see you again soon. Bye, everyone.